Hello, hello. Good morning. Happy Thursday, August 28th, 2025. Um, I'm Manila Chan. That over there is Ted Rall. You're tuned into the Ted Manila Information Show, TMI Show for short, because we bring you way too much information. We're live Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So please be sure to hit the like, the follow, the subscribe, the share, the thumbs up, all those things, all the good things. So you can help our little channel grow. And we're continuing to chug along, Ted. We're the little show that could. We're actually, very in short order here. We're almost coming up on our 1-year anniversary doing TMI.
Do you happen to remember what our first day on the air was?
We could find out. Look. Oh yeah. We'll have to look. And it's actually coming up very close, September 3rd to my 1 year. Was it? I know we were laid off. I was laid off September 13th.
Afterwards. Yeah.
So yeah, it's up very soon. And my mastectomy anniversary is September 3rd. So it wasn't long after, it was shortly thereafter. So a lot of anniversaries coming up in September. On today's show, though, we're gonna talk the heavy news about, we were talking about it, breaking news yesterday when we weren't sure if it was really a hoax story or not. The shooting at the Catholic school in Minneapolis, turns out it wasn't a hoax. And unfortunately, it was another mass shooting episode. The identity is out. A lot of the interwebs are talking about the whole trans issue and a lot of shooting stuff, because there's always shooting conversation to be had in the U.S. Then we'll go to something a little bit lighter, kind of fun. It's basically the who's who, the A-list of gays in gay Washington, Trump's big gay administration. I'm basically paraphrasing a real story from the New York Times. There's literally a gay list. Forget the A-listers. This is the gay listers. There's literally a gay list. We'll tell you the story. If you don't believe me, just wait. It's very interesting. Then we'll give you an update about the Subway sandwich thrower, the sandwich bandit.
Not in the Subway.
Yeah. The Subway sandwich guy, who's not Jared, the child perv guy. This is the Subway sandwich thrower, who is now free, Ted. He's free.
Yeah, and this, by the way, establishes an important legal precedent. It's now open season to throw sandwiches at ICE officers. So
kind of true.
This hunting season begins tonight at 9:00.
Food fight.
It's going to be like the food purge. So like the movie Purge. And everybody's going to go out and buy sandwiches. There's going to be rules to this. You can't get like the big, foot long, because that's unfair.
I thought he threw a foot long.
Oh, did he really?
He threw a big sandwich.
It was a big sandwich. I don't know if it was a foot long. Or those big 3-foot long ones that like.
No, not a yard sandwich.
That's a nuclear sandwich. That's nuclear. That's not allowed.
You can't throw that one. The 6-incher is like shooting a little 22. That's lame.
This opens up all sorts of possibilities. Like
this was
McDonald's,
a solid long.
Burgers. Certainly burgers are fair game. You have to be careful on the sauces. But anyway, if you ever see an ICE officer, Border and Customs Enforcement, I'd stretch it out to anyone who works for the Department of Homeland Security, even like a secretary, like a clerk. You're allowed to just go up to them and just throw a sandwich at them, and nothing will happen to you. It's totally legal. In fact, it's now protected in the Constitution. So
it is kind of precedent setting. So this is kind of
you
crazy.
Can't go to if you live in DC, you can't get to your house without stopping at a military checkpoint. But you can throw luncheon meats at members of certain cabinet departments. Now, this does not apply to people who work for the Treasury Department. You're not allowed to do that. but maybe salads would be appropriate, but that hasn't been tested yet. That has to be go through the courts, go to SCOTUS, and be approved.
Salads like couscous. Where do we draw the line?
Once we get into once you get starting to get into foreign foods, I mean, all bets are off, right? I mean, I think it's totally okay to throw like chicken vindaloo at.
I enjoy Israeli couscous, Ted.
So you're a Zionist foodie.
I guess so. I do enjoy Israeli couscous. So I have some in my pantry right now.
Ooh, that's not.
I don't know that I'd want to throw it because then it would be like a political statement.
Free Palestine, from the river to the sea. Manila's refrigerator will be free.
It's uncooked couscous. It's in my pantry. But anyway, last but not least, of course, the whole reason for our thumbnail today is apparently Mark Zuckerberg has been not quietly been basically buying up his whole subdivision of homes in Palo Alto, and quietly, not quietly. And here's what I mean by that is that he's not making a lot of fanfare, like telling the press that he's building this sickeningly disgusting giant enclave compound, like a Kennedy compound at Hyannisport, like one of these giant, and he's buying up all this property that he's been chipping away at for like a decade.
But it's very different from the Kennedy compound. The Kennedy compound, which I've been to, is it's in Hyannisport, it's in Cape Cod, and basically it's just a house, sort of like near the water.
It's just one house.
Well, it's got some outlying buildings, but the point is, it's not like. So here, what happened? That was like all purchased at one time by the patriarch, by Joe. But with in this situation, Zuckerberg basically bought a house in the suburbs. It's a suburban house.
Don't give away the story, though.
Okay, yeah,
and he's buying up others and subjecting the neighbors to a lot of bullshit.
All sorts of misery. Yeah,
a lot of bullshit for a long time, and then he tries to gift them something to be like,
not enough,
bro,
not enough.
We're cool, right? We're cool.
Yeah, we could talk about that. I have ideas about this, but anyway,
I have lots of thoughts about
how he could have handled this very differently.
Oh, there's so many ways. There's just, I really, really want to know, Ted. Like,
most of them involve cash, Manila.
Well, as rich as he is, Ted, where are his handlers? Does he have handlers? Like, not only reputational coaches, maybe he needs like a coach.
Well, if he does, he needs to fire his current team and hire a new one.
Because they're bad.
He's really considered. He's definitely one of the most despised people in the United States. Seriously, I think there are more Democrats who like Donald Trump than can stand.
Than anybody that likes.
Everyone hates Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, he's literally the biggest techno douche of all time.
Yeah, tech douche. All right, so with that, let's get to at least one breaking news story. So let's hop to it.
To our main story, we have breaking news. This is a big story in the world of media. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution is going out of business. It is completely getting rid of its print edition. This is breaking right now in the New York Times. It says it's quitting print cold turkey. So it's going to be an all digital product. The print edition will stop at the end of 2025. This is a newspaper that goes back to 1868. So this is a big deal because there's been a lot of papers that have gone from 7 days a week to 3 days a week or 6 days a week or whatever. But this is the first time that this was a big deal when Ohio lost its newspaper. But Canton, Ohio is a Rust Belt, withered husk of a city. Atlanta, Georgia is a major American city. It's arguably the capital of the Black South. And Atlanta is a major city. It's a growing city as far as I know. So that is shocking news, Manila.
Yeah, it's just more evidence, Ted, of a sad shrinking yet expanding media world. And by that I mean like it's shrinking in the sense that only a handful of corporations own the whatever titles are out there. It's shrinking in that traditional print is going away, everything's going digital. And because of that, the latter part, the digital part, it is expanding, but again, it's being owned by just a handful of companies. And then everything is just like, for example, Scripps owns a huge portion of American media. And that's why when you go to watch various local news, when they cover national news, it's the exact same script, verbatim, word for word. So you can hear a news anchor in Boston, a news anchor in, in, I don't know, somewhere in Nebraska, an anchor somewhere in California, and they'll be repeating word for word, verbatim, the same stuff. It's because it's the same one media outlet, that company that owns every outlet. So it's a bummer, Ted, but I'm not,
I mean, it's not like we didn't see this coming.
I knew this was happening. It's coming.
I mean, look, you and I both know that we've talked about, we're not going to get into my old employer, the LA Times, but I think the LA Times will be out of business by the end of next year, if not sooner. That'll be a shockwave. It's the fourth largest city in the United States. And we're going to see more and more of this. But I mean, it's look,
the writing's been on the wall.
We'll be watching that story, but it is interesting. All right, now let's move on. The gunman who slaughtered 2 kids and injured 17 more at a Catholic school in Minneapolis has been identified as a transgender woman, as disturbing videos posted by the shooter show a handwritten manifesto and "Kill Donald Trump" and "For the Children" scrawled on her gun magazines. Robin Westman, who used to be Robert Westman, opened fire through the stained glass windows of a church at the Annunciation Catholic School, where he had attended in the past during a back-to-school mass filled with kids about 8:30 in the morning on Wednesday. Just hours before, Westman, 23, posted some videos onto YouTube, which included a manifesto that, according to the Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara, in one 20-minute video, Westman flips through the manifesto. Much of it is written in a homespun code that uses Cyrillic and English phonetic words. He fantasizes about, quote, being that scary, horrible monster standing over those powerless kids, end quote, I should say she, and reverently confesses admiration for the Sandy Hook massacre in 2012. Westman applied to change her birth name from Robert to Robin in Dakota County, Minnesota, when he was 17. That approval was granted in January 2020, right before the pandemic. The petition adds that Westman identifies as female and wants her name to reflect that identification. But 5 years later, she seemed to have backed away from that identity. I don't want to dress girly all the time, but I guess sometimes I really like it. I know I'm not a woman, but I definitely don't feel like a man, he wrote. I really like my outfit. I look pretty smart and modest. I think I want to wear something like this for my shooting. He also goes, it's very important to wear the proper outfit for your mass shooting, Manila.
Obviously, Ted, there's going to be a lot of media.
You want to look your best, your sharpest. She also goes into great detail about her decision to target Annunciation, where she graduated from grade school in 2017. Her mom, Mary Grace Westman, also worked as a secretary at the school until she retired 4 years ago. I'm feeling good about Annunciation. It seems like a good combo of easy attack form and devastating tragedy, and I want to do more research. I have concerns about finding a large enough group. I want to avoid any parents, but pre- and post-school drop-off, another page reads. I wonder why she wanted to avoid parents. Maybe I could attack an event at the on-site church, she wrote. I think attacking a large group of kids coming in from recess is my best plan. Then from there, I can go inside and kill, going for as long as I can. Near the end of the video, Westman flicks through a number of blank pages before reaching what looks like a drawing showing the inside of a church, saying, "Ha ha, nice," and stops turning pages. She then takes out a knife and stabs into the center of the sketch, her hand quivering before she withdraws the blade and quietly mumbles, "Kill myself." As she flips the pages, an occasional plume of smoke appears from the bottom of the screen, punctuated by coughs, cursing, and giggles. Each page is filled with handwritten stuff, which includes such violent ramblings as, I have had thoughts about mass murder for a long time. I'm very conflicted with writing this journal. I need to get my thoughts out without getting on a watch list. Ha ha.
Well, yeah, Ted.
Well, it's not. I mean, it's not
Robbie,
exactly
like,
breaking news, Manila, that someone who would kill a bunch
mentally ill,
a bunch of kids is psychotic. Yeah.
But so obviously, like, mentally ill. I imagine the parents of this shooter are being grilled by the FBI. I mean, how do you, is it possible, Ted? I mean, maybe because I'm so far away from even imagining this, and you have a son that's close in age to the shooter. Robbie's children are older, they're teens, so maybe it's hard for me to imagine. But I feel like, how, as a parent, would you not know that your young adult child is this mentally disturbed? Like, is it possible to not know that your kid is like, hoo-hoo, cuckoo?
Well, he obviously knew, because the dude asked to have his registry changed to being a woman or anything else. I mean, right there shows that you're nuts. So the answer to your question is yes.
She knew that I think the parents had to know that there was something wrong with their kid just from being observant. But that's, that's a far cry from, millions and millions of Americans are mentally ill. They don't go out and shoot up a school or a church, right?
Well, so, yeah, and there's a lot of trans people that don't go shooting up churches and schools.
Yeah, I looked this up in preparation for today's show, and there's no correlation. There's been a number of studies. There's no correlation whatsoever between violence or murder and being trans, and quite the opposite. The only thing that's really pertinent is that trans people are 4 times more likely to be a victim of violent crime than cis people. So,
and they have a higher rate of suicide.
They have a very high rate of suicide, and you could see why.
This shooter suicided themselves also.
Well, in the future,
although a lot of non-trans mass shooters kill themselves too. Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris were not trans, and they did that at Columbine. They killed themselves.
I think that the best way we actually handle this would be if you want to go out in a blaze of glory by committing suicide while you're doing a shooting, do the world a favor, commit suicide first, then do your shooting.
Yes. Let's proliferate that message.
I think that way works a lot better.
Yes, we should totally tell those people to do that.
Yeah, that's a public service announcement from the Ad Council.
No, and probably, I'm probably called a Nazi and everything else on this, but I mean, honestly, I think that we are to a point now in this country with the drug abuse and all the mentally ill people who are out walking around. But both y'all live in major cities. Y'all see this every day. I think that what we should do, and I mean this sincerely as a right-winger who hates big government, we need to start building facilities and start rounding these people up. I mean, kind of like Taliban style. Get people into rehab, get them fixed, get them healed. People who are mentally ill, get them the treatment that they need. Because if you're out of your mind.
This is Russia's today's democracy in Russia. They do that.
Well, that's what we should do too.
Yeah,
because
I don't think mentally ill people should be allowed to wander the streets and shadow box and push people in front of subways.
No, it's hateful.
This person,
this is a misguided
Robin Westman.
This isn't liberalism.
Was not walking around. Robin Westman was not walking around, though, Ted. The thing is, Robin Westman was at home with their parents, their mom, who's now retired from the school. And I mean, I imagine, being that this was a Catholic school, I can already picture the type of lady that she is now, a lifelong secretary at the Catholic school, right? She retired there. I can already imagine that she is probably a devout Catholic mom, and her kid turned out a different way. And
we don't know that the kid we don't know that the kid wasn't a devout Catholic.
No, I read about the kid. Yeah, the kid has rejected all of that and is so the kid is not only trans, the kid went on to write about white supremacy also, and killing Jews, and so there was some anti-Semitic screeds, and
Which
so the kid was all over the place.
We're going to see a lot more of because of Israel's behavior.
So this kid was all sorts of fucked up, and I imagine that the mom, even though she's retired, I can imagine what type of nice little Catholic lady that she is, prim and proper based on her pictures and, the fact that she retired from the school, and the kids all went there, is that a lot of Catholics, Ted, this, a lot of Catholics turn a blind eye to the problems that their families face. A lot of Catholics.
Come on, cut to the chase. What do you mean?
What I'm saying is
problems?
Catholic mom. What problems?
Yeah, what problems?
That the kid is mentally ill.
You think that like turning a blind eye to crazy child is a Catholic thing?
I'm saying it's more common and very common within the Catholic community to dust things under the rug and pretend that that this isn't happening in my house.
Pervert priests, sure, but
I think this
I don't know. I don't think that holds water.
I think this probably has more to do, honestly, with middle class or upper middle class, lower high class white people who just don't want to be judged, who want to just pamper little Johnny. Oh, you want to be a girl today? Okay, that's fine. You can do that. And instead of just actually having this stuff called masculinity in the home and say, no, you're not a girl. You're a dude. Go play football, get tackled. It'll do you some good. I think that's what this is. It's too much coddling. It's so much, you're special. You can be whatever you want because you're my special little angel. I love you. Sorry, no one in this world is special. And if you are a dude who thinks that you are a guy, or that you're a girl, or a girl thinks that you're a dude, you're not special either. You're fucked in the head. You need to get fixed because you're crazy. And my question is where's this kid's dad? Where's the dad?
We haven't seen anything about the dad.
Why isn't he?
But I agree that this is very much a first world problem, and I've covered stories about this, and I think we have too on the show. Is that the rate of transgender anything, whether we're talking about mental illness or shootings or whatever, the incidence rate of people purporting to be to be trans are much, much lower when you go to broke ass Appalachia or you go to Compton in LA.
Because it's not cool.
It's not really not cool. It's just they have real shit to worry about. They have real shit to worry about.
It is also true that if you are oriented towards being trans, you're probably going to leave and go to a big city, right? I mean, look at me, communist growing up in Kettering, Ohio. One less communist, I left. It wasn't a friendly place.
This kid was 17
New York was better.
This kid was 17 and still under the guidance of their parents when they were 17, that means their parents were catering to this at 17 years old, to Robbie's point. The parents knew full well at 17 that they were petitioning the courts for their underage child to change their gender in courts. The courts just didn't approve it until the kid was 20. So to Robbie's point, Robbie's right. They're probably from an upper middle class family based on this community where this is where you see primarily these types of wacko shooters. They come from a certain cloth. They get cut from this very cloth that Robbie's talking about. White, upper middle class. They got them first world problems. They don't have shit problems to worry about, like getting stabbed on the way to school in Inglewood.
White, I'll give you male, but I'm not going to give you upper middle class. I think, look at, what's his name? Timothy McVeigh. He wasn't upper middle class. You took out an entire building.
Wait. You can't go from
a lot of mass shooters are working class and middle class.
Timothy McVeigh, it was a straight, and there's a lot of issues about the whole Timothy McVeigh story. But anyway, my whole point is he's very straight. Timothy McVeigh had nothing. We're talking specifically about trans shooters that have been attacking Catholic schools.
Trans shooters don't. There's no trans people don't commit these crimes any more frequently than
the
cis
Tennessee
shooters
Christian
do.
School, the Tennessee Christian School, a year or two ago.
Yeah, is there another one? Because I
girl
can't
to
think of
boy.
another one. We have two.
A trans girl to boy.
2.
So there's that. This is back to back years, or if not very
Back
close.
to back. There's a mass shooting every day in America. What are you talking about? Two.
Here's the issue.
So when we're talking about this type of,
I hate to say it, this doesn't even qualify
shooting,
as a official mass shooting because 4 people
it's not
didn't
4
die.
Dead.
Right.
Sure.
So
but it's a school shooting. But there's a type.
Here's the difference. Trannies are considered a protected class. I mean, honestly, if you go,
well, they are under federal law. They are protected. They are.
That's my point.
Class, yes.
And so, like for example, the tranny to Manila's point. I keep saying tranny. Yeah, I just keep thinking about my car. So bad. No, this girl left a manifesto. It still hasn't been made public. Steven Crowder got a part of it that he leaked. So my question is
you guys
why
are both ignoring me? Two incidents.
But
right?
Again, think about the level of the population that they are. I mean, it's super tiny, but yet we're all supposed to bend over and play this little game with them. So, you can be whatever you want to be. We can just suspend the reality because it makes you feel inconvenient. They're a very, very tiny section of the population. Of course,
you,
trannies are
nerd for the generous $5 donation. No. Nerd says, I don't want to say his name, but Manila remembers the Sputnik caller who ended up stabbing a family member to death. I don't know this incident at all. We could all kind of tell there was something going on with him, but who could see that? I mean, that's the thing is you kind of like, we all know people who are crazy or see people who are crazy, but you can't just jail people who are crazy. That's not our system.
Well, I'm not talking about jailing them. I am talking about forcing them to get treatment. I mean, there is a difference.
Or getting off the street.
I mean, what kind of
treatment would you suggest in this case? I mean, there's no indication that this person was ever
lobotomy
diagnosed as mentally ill. They still be trans.
Okay, the fact that the dude wanted to be a girl is mental illness in and of itself. I mean, gender dysphoria up to 5 minutes ago was considered a mental illess.
It's still in the DSM-5.
And all of a sudden you get put onto a pedestal.
But the DSM-3 identified gay people as being mentally ill too.
And I agree.
Yeah, I think that's when I went to college.
I am the right-wing Christian conservative.
All of this was classified as
homosexuality is in the animal kingdom, so I think it's clearly naturally occurring. Right?
Well, animals. Well, if you want to equate a queer with an animal, be my guest, because that's a point that I make every single day. So thank you for making my point. I mean, so
Robbie,
there's that.
Robbie, that sensitivity training is not taken.
it's pissing me
you're
off.
Only getting worse.
We never
saw it coming. He seemed so normal, little spicy sometimes.
When you're trying to cram this sort of like
3 days
DEI or sensitivity or whatever down somebody's throat, it's gonna push them in the other direction, because we're whatever's left over of this Biden era, like being male or masculine is bad. That, which is of course when the shooter was coming of age, right? Was in that Biden era, and you had to, COVID, all of that. It did a number on a lot of people, where if you are white and straight, it wasn't cool. Like it's not okay to be a white cis straight male. And if you are somebody that's teetering on the edge of mental illness, where you can just fall off the edge, all you need is somebody to, the society to tell you that you're a POS because you were born white and you were born male and you were straight. Because we don't know if the shooter was gay or not. Just because they identify as a girl doesn't mean they are.
True. That's true.
So we don't know. Yeah. We don't want to equate that.
More often than not, in my experience, their sexual orientation doesn't change after transitioning, right? So like you start as a guy, as a heterosexual guy, you end up as a gay woman, right?
A lesbian woman. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the biggest issue here is that we have a major problem in this country with mental illness. Our government does not care.
That's true.
And and the vast majority
and the law isn't enforced. We have mental health parity under the Affordable Care Act, but it's completely unenforced.
Of course.
So, you can't get your insurance company to pay for talk therapy or for any meds that you might need or anything.
We need.
What do they do in France, Ted?
We need to bring back psych wards.
They have mental health parity under federal law.
Oh.
So in other words,
do they have nut houses?
France does not distinguish. You know how like we separate out things like dental and vision, and regular medical and mental.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do that in France. In France, it's all considered. You are sick. You need help. We will find you the help you need. If it's your brain that's broken, we will fix that. Think about dental health. What a fake.
Right. Like, here's your teeth. Like,
I mean, by the way, seriously, yeah. I mean, gum disease is a major disease vector. If you have poor gum health, that leads to all sorts of other things. But it's not a separate thing. Like, oh, your mouth is rotten, but the rest of you is fine. Like, no. But or vision for that matter, right? I mean, like, I'm going to the ophthalmologist today. I have no vision coverage. I have to pay out of pocket. So it's that kind of thing.
Hold on, are you trying to tell me that your eye is not a part of your body?
It's its own thing.
Yeah, I know it's my mental illness that makes me think that.
Yeah. And again, I'll drop off because I know we're going long on this thing. But I mean, honestly, the argument that I hear from people on the left, and I use that term broadly, is that, Robbie, you can't round these people up because it's not humane and it's not an act of love. And then the argument that you get from the right is like, well, that's socialism, is paying for it. My answer to both of them is that you're both idiots.
Yes.
Razzmatazz is asking me personally, are you familiar with people who go gay or trans for not for economic reasons, but certainly for dating market reasons? Yes, I am. Even ignoring those ticking time bombs, many homosexuals, at least friends of mine, express remorse. I've heard that too. Dating market stuff. Yeah. In fact, there was I didn't know this person personally, but there was a very well-known piece in the New York Times by a dude who basically was like transitioned and then was like, he literally thought that if he became a girl, that he'd be able, that like straight guys would be interested in dating her. And it was like, just be gay, dude. You never heard of a gay bar? Like, guys fuck guys. But anyway, but that's not that, it's not, I don't know if it's, it happens, I guess is the best way to put it.
It's just, I'm going to say just what we have to do is that we have to come up with a system. And first, the American people have to be honest with themselves. And by letting the junkie with the fentanyl stroll walk down the street, that's an act of love.
Zombie walk.
That is an act
more.
Of hatred.
Could not agree more.
If you love someone, you help that person. You don't let them self-destruct.
Even if it's sort of like, it is like getting back to an animal, right? Like, like if your cat has a thorn in its paw, it might bite and claw and scream at you when you try to take it out, but you've got to grab it and take it out. Yeah. There's no choice.
I mean, something's got to change, and I think that's what needs to happen. Is that you're libertarians, you need to sit down because you're offering a solution. If you're on the right, and if all you're doing is looking at cost analysis benefit, well, go talk to these kids' parents who got killed yesterday, and then ask them how much it's going to cost.
The corporate right, the Republican Party, all they care about is reducing costs for big business so that shareholders make more money. It's the only thing they care about. They get a hard on looking at their stock market returns. That's all.
Then fine. Then if you're going to do
and then liberal Democrats look at people and like, oh, they have the freedom to like sleep outdoors in the rain and the freezing cold and go fucking even crazier than
that's their human right.
That's their freedom. It's like
they have their freedom and human right to sling feces at passerbys.
They have so much freedom. The Republicans want us all to have the freedom to starve to death and be homeless because, like as Robbie's saying, in an overheated housing market, nobody can afford a roof over their head.
Oh, that's one of my arguments about Zuckerberg.
And the liberals want us all to have the freedom to fucking go lose our fucking minds and become drug addicts and alcoholics and live on the street outside under the rain being raped every night. Yeah, it's awesome.
All right,
we're so free.
Let's move on. Let's move on. All right. Oh, sorry, Robbie. Were you saying something?
You.
No, I was just going to say, no, if you're going to do it, if you want to kill yourself after you do a mass shooting, just kill yourself first. Like I said earlier, do the world a favor.
Do us all a favor.
And then if you want to dress well, dress the part, get yourself an IDF uniform. So at least that way you dress like the fucking monster that you are.
That's
So
the point. If you
there's
have,
that.
it's true. If you have an urge to kill children, you can get paid for it and even get medals. IDF, it's your way.
Yeah, but this particular shooter hated Israelis too. Well, at least you would think, based on the clips I mean, talking about like in the guns, like the clips in the mags, wrote anti-Semitic slurs on the mags and some mentions of anti-Semitic stuff in their diary, journal, whatever people
tell
call
us
them
about
these
the
days.
A-gays.
All right, so this is the more fun story. I'm just gonna say about the gay A-list in Washington. So a new social and political tribe has emerged in Donald Trump's second administration, the so-called A-gays, openly gay men holding prominent government and political posts, unapologetically loyal to the MAGA movement. They are not closeted, not tentative, and not shy about their influence. Figures like Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, State Department Undersecretary Jacob Hellberg, longtime pollster Tony Fabrizio, and Charles Moran of the Department of Energy are central players in this group, networking across Washington's elite clubs, government corridors, and cultural institutions. Moran, once head of the Log Cabin Republicans, now works in nuclear security while serving as an unofficial convener of the circle. He keeps a running spreadsheet of gay appointees ready to connect colleagues across agencies when favors or guidance is needed. Quote, even within the bureaucracy is overwhelming, he said. I love having this community as a resource. The visibility of gay Republicans in Trump's orbit marks a departure from the secrecy that once defined political life for gay conservatives. Under George W. Bush, high-ranking gay officials existed, but often in the shadows. By contrast, Trump's circle is open, stylish, and socially active. They throw rooftop parties, gather at clubs like the Ned, and they turn out in force at the Kennedy Center events. Their social scene overlaps with Trump World fundraisers, Peter Thiel's private parties, and high-profile dinners with figures like Melania Trump, whom many describe as a cultural icon. Yet their presence highlights a paradox. These men live in one of the nation's most LGBTQ-friendly cities, which is overwhelmingly anti-Trump. Many gay Washingtonians view them as hypocrites, citing Trump's record like banning transgender people from the military, cutting HIV funding, mocking same-sex marriage. Encounters at bars and on dating apps often turn confrontational. As one critic put it, quote, you can either party with the gays on Fire Island or you can cut funding for AIDS programs, but you can't do both. The A-gays dismiss such criticism as liberal hysteria. They argue Trump has shown more ease with gay people than past Republican leaders, pointing to his campy embrace of Village People anthems, Mar-a-Lago's inclusive membership, and his friendships with openly gay power brokers. For them, MAGA is not homophobic, but welcoming. Ostracized by much of Washington's gay establishment, they've built their own table, one that now sits firmly at the center of Trump's Washington. Now, what this article left out, they forgot to mention that Rick Grenell, I think he was doing Homeland, Trump's first term. That was like the first big named, openly gay person in Trump's quasi cabinet, because I don't think he ever got confirmed. But openly gay. I mean, I hadn't thought about this, Ted, but now that the article enumerates all of these people, holy crap, that's true. Like, Trump really, really has embraced the gays. Given, like, this is such a weird paradoxical world, because conservatives, haven't been super gay friendly, but in Trump's MAGA version of conservatism or republicanism, or however we want to define it, it's super gay. Like, I think it's kind of cool because I'm I love me some gays.
I
think it's really cool that
what part of it's cool?
That they can live in this dual identity of both being, they view themselves as conservatives and being openly gay. Like, I think that's great. Like,
so you don't think that they're like traitors to the to the LGBT community. So the very same administration, which is virulently homophobic in a lot of ways, and promotes anti-gay policies across the spectrum. But as long as you have your,
I think
it's sort of that's not like, so it's kind of like Kamala Harris. She's a person of color, so it's cool that the Democrats have a person of color as vice president, and it's okay that the Democrats were sending people of color to prison because whatever.
I think it's these guys being able to say, like, maybe it's the gays that I know that are more, they're not, and they're older, they're old school gays. And if anything, they are annoyed. They are annoyed by the trans movement. They're annoyed. Like, they're
there's definitely a split there.
I know a lot. Those are the gays that I know. And they're like, I love being a gay man. I love living in my male body. Why should I feel pressure to wear makeup? Why should I feel pressure? Like, they are very ardently like, that is a girl thing. I'm not a girl. I'm a gay man. That's basically what my gay friends in Washington say to me. Mm-hmm. And they're actually very annoyed. And they've moved over to the right during the first Trump administration, which I thought was, like, I guess I've had time to kind of soak it in and understand what they're saying. And it's that they were annoyed by the cultural movement with the Democratic Party and how the values I don't know, they just viewed it as like being too much, crammed down everybody's throats, and that they viewed cramming it down everyone's throat is making the normies like you and I, maybe not you and I in particular, but the normies out there, the cis straight people out there, having us turn on them because the movement was hijacked to become like trans inclusive and this inclusive and that inclusive. And it's like, okay, we have achieved equality. We can get married. We can adopt kids. We can do all of these things. We're protected. We can't be fired because we're gay. Leave us alone. Let's just leave good enough alone. And I think that's where these people's positions are.
In the first Trump administration, among other things, right? Trump got rid of all rules, federal rules that ban discrimination based on sexual orientation in healthcare, like health insurance, Medicaid, ACA, etc. So in other words, medical companies can discriminate against gays due to Donald Trump. Religious exemptions. The Department of Labor under Trump said if you have religious beliefs, you don't have to hire gays or lesbians at all. So you're less likely to be able to find a job. I think federal employees, you can now be discriminated against, right? I mean, so there's
wait a minute. If you're a religious
adoption agencies no longer have to. They can now decide not to let gay. They can say we can have an anti-gay, anti-lesbian policy for allowing people to adopt kids. I mean, these are serious policies.
Well, if that is a religious-based, if that's a religious-based
religion's
orphanage,
not real. Okay, religion is made up. It's
from
fake.
Your lips to God's ears.
It's not the law. We live in a secular country.
If it's a religious-based orphanage, you're saying they don't have the right to decide.
Well, apparently they do have the right to decide, but if you're
you're saying they shouldn't. You're saying they shouldn't.
Of course not.
Why?
Because it's
a Christian orphanage.
Well, I mean, it's like, okay, we go back to like the gay wedding cake. I'm against the gay wedding cake decision. It's the decision that we have. But like, if you open a bakery, and you should be open to all comers. If someone comes in there and says, I want a Nazi swastika cake for my for my white supremacist party, and then you better make like an Ein Reich, Ein Volk, Ein Führer cake for that person. If I come in and I want my Lenin cake with a hammer and sickle on it, and you're a fascist and you hate communism, but you have a bakery, you should be forced to make that cake for me and make it pretty too.
This is where you lose me, and this is why I'll never be a communist. Like, no, we agree on a lot, but right here, though, is a big place where we don't, because I have this thing called
I don't agree with that either.
I have the right of what's called freedom of association. I get to associate with whosoever it is that I choose.
But business is different.
No, the hell it is. No, sir, it is not. Like, and this is one of the things that's really precious to me. Again, look at you, Republicans. Why is it that you people go out and you support like the equal housing laws and all this other crap? If you care about being a business, if the only color that you care about is green, you're going to hire whoever it is that you want. However,
sure.
If I have a bakery and if some homo comes in and they want me to make them a cake or something, I want them to fuck.
Like with crossed penises on it?
Yeah.
Like, give me this cake.
I will tell them to fuck all the way off and get out of my store.
No, it should be like you should have like a big pulsating, throbbing penis up on there.
What if lesbians are like,
cream out of the top?
Bake me a giant titty cake with big mounds. Like, can I have a titty cake?
Yeah, or like a
you can. Not for
if
me.
I open a bakery,
bakery.
If I have a bakery,
fair.
It's in the public space. It's like it's in a public sphere. It's like part of the community. And if I'm a baker and some Zionist comes in and wants like a death to the Palestinians cake, I should have
out
to
of
make
your
it.
mind on this. No, sir.
I'm with Robbie on this. I believe every business has the right. They should discriminate against whoever the hell they want. And if the community says, if you're that cake baker and the community says, hey, you're a bigoted piece of shit, let's not do business there, then they'll starve. The business will go out of business. They'll starve.
Because here at the end of the day, here's the problem. And this is why I will never be a communist. I own myself. You do not own me. The state does not own me. Whatever I own, whatever it is that I build, whatever property is that let me finish.
Okay, please.
Then I own it. It belongs to me. You cannot compel me through force of arms by putting a gun to my head, threatening to throw me in prison, to say you will do this or you will pay a price. At that point, I am no longer a citizen. I'm a subject at best or a slave at worst. No, sir. You do not have the right to compel me with a gun to my head about what I have to what I have to do.
But the state currently does as it is, right? So if you open that bakery, and let's take my examples out of it, that bakery is going to have to pay state and federal tax and local taxes. Sure. It's going to have to collect taxes. It's going to have to file a myriad of forms. It's going to have to comply with environmental regulations. It's going to be inspected by the department that inspects eateries. You're going to be you're going to be subject to all sorts of supervision, that some of which will feel oppressive, right?
But here's the difference, though, and then here's the part that you're missing. I think a big part has to do with you being an atheist. Is as a Christian, we are commanded by the Bible to obey civil authority. It's actually a commandment. It's not. It's mentioned in 2 Peter. It's also
Caesar,
in Romans.
Caesar's.
Yeah, but the exception to that is that it works under jurisdictions. You obey the state until they compel you to disobey God, because God's laws are higher than the state's. That's the issue. When you start to tell me to do something that violates a commandment that comes down from God, it is at my point, my obligation as a Christian to tell you to go to hell, because the highest law is the law of God. The higher law is the law of the state.
Well, we could go down the rabbit hole of it's far from absolute that like God is anti-gay, for example.
Wait,
right?
We're straying away from the topic. The story, though, is Trump's gay list.
Well, this actually this actually relates to it, because evangelical Christians are so precious. Like they rally around Trump, and then me as a Christian, I look at them as like, what the hell are you doing? Because the very first gay pride event ever in history was Sodom and Gomorrah. God smoked them. There's a reason why he did it, because those queers tried to rape two different angels.
That's also Old Testament,
So,
right? And the New
doesn't
Testament,
matter.
when there's a conflict between new and old, new prevails, right? That's what Christianity is.
There is no conflict. And I would recommend that you read the book of Jude. It's a one-page book before the book of Revelation. Read it. It says that it addresses this problem. Romans addresses this problem. Peter addresses this problem. So for people to go out and say that the New Testament is silent on homosexuality, pick up your Bible and read it. That's the problem with Catholics. You bastards don't read your Bibles. Pick up your Bibles and read them.
It's been a while. I'll confess.
I read my Bible a lot. I'm actually educated on this kind of thing. Now, granted, a lot of people think, well, Robbie's praying to this guy, man, who doesn't exist. So be it. He exists in my heart. He exists in my mind. And I will obey his laws rather than the laws of man any day of the week.
All right. But Robbie, let's get back to the subject at hand here.
Sure.
As Manila suggests.
How is that applicable to
So let's talk
Trump's
about
gay list?
how do you feel about, how do we feel? I don't have much. I don't really care. I don't really care about these. I think that.
Wait, what's disgusting?
The fact that Christians will give Trump a pass on all this crap, even whenever he is expressly doing things and supporting a population that the Bible condemns. That's the issue. It's the hypocrisy of the evangelical right. It's like, oh, I'm pro-life until I'm not. No, I'm pro-life up to the point of this kid getting born, and I have no problem with the IDF dropping a bomb on this baby, or I have no problem with leaving this kid out to starve. It's those are the kinds of issues. Like a Trump going out and saying, I'm the most pro-gay president in history. Arguably, that's correct. Well, then my question to you as a Christian, what's more important to you, your professed faith in Christ or your orange Jesus? Because one can save your soul, the other one can't. Pick a side. I picked my side. Do y'all have any doubt whatsoever about where I stand on this?
That's true. By the way, I do like this question from Ray. This one's for you, Robbie. How did Christians worship for 3 centuries before the Bible was written?
So you're talking about like in the Old Testament? What they did is that they went through the Mosaic Law.
The Bible's a compilation.
Oh yeah, it's a library. So what you would do, like for example, in the days of the Old Testament, that's when you would go and a lot of people thought that you had to go to the temple. God never commissioned the temple to be built. What you would do is that you go to the tabernacles, the sacrifices would be made. Old Testament religion and Judaism are two completely different things. But to answer your question, that's how they would do it. They've served they lived under the judges, and then when under the Mosaic Law. Then after Jesus came, whenever he was resurrected, when he died on the cross, the covenant of Leviticus was ended. And the covenant of Melchizedek came into being. And you can find that in the New Testament, specifically in the book of Hebrews.
That's very specific.
The A gays. All right. Well, whatever. We should probably move on.
All right.
We're ready.
All right.
Point is that Republicans are massive hypocrites. And they don't know what the hell they believe.
And I would say that the gay Trumpies are hypocrites too. They're just careerists. They're willing to throw their own buddies under the bus to get ahead.
They're Uncle Toms. I mean, that's what they are.
That's right.
They're the Condoleezza Rices of the world.
Correct. Agreed. That's right.
That's
so exactly right.
So for all these
Rachel
gays,
Maddows.
If they believe in all the other stuff, like the other policies or whatever that are housed under the GOP tent, where would they go if it wasn't that their little minority group of being gay men? Mm-hmm. Where should they go then if they believe in everything else?
Preferably far, far away where there's no children around, maybe to an island in the Pacific.
By the way, gay men are not necessarily pedophiles. They're not.
There is. Yeah, that's a
misnomer.
There's
that's
no. There's no evidence.
Pedophilia is its own thing. Is its own. Like Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile, and he was not gay.
Oh, I agree. But hey, listen, you already know what my solution for pedophiles is. The 70-cent solution.
Let's not conflate the two. Let's not conflate the two. But
I'm not conflating anything. I'm just saying just get rid of them.
My question to you two guys is then for Trump's A gays, for his gay listers, Where do they go politically then? If the only thing, if you're calling them Uncle Toms,
come to the real left. Join Ted Rall. Let's help. Let's get out.
But if they politically,
the Democratic Party
believe in all the stuff under the GOP tent, then what other tent can they go to?
Well, if they believe in those things, they're wrong to believe in those things. They shouldn't believe in those things.
That's not my question, though. But they do believe those things. Where do they go?
Then they're right where they need to be, like as a traitor. They're like Vichy. They're Vichy Republicans. They're Vichy gays. They're scum.
Like, do they need?
That's their deal.
Do they need to go invent their own party? Like, not quite.
They're right where they need to be. Just like the Ukrainians who were guarding Auschwitz. They're right where they needed to be. They were with their friends, their German Nazi friends.
Honest question here: is there enough of a difference between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party for this to even be a serious conversation?
No.
Where do they differ?
Hardly on anything.
Serious question.
On minor issues of style. That's about it.
Immigration.
If you want to,
are you
kidding?
Barely.
Republicans love it. Republicans love it.
Yeah, both parties kept the border open forever.
I mean, what you're looking at with me is a salty right winger who's politically homeless because the Republican Party said we have no place for people like you. To which I answer, thank you, because you made my question. You let me know what's going on here.
Yeah, get out of the two-party.
We'll whiz through this update.
All right, here we go.
Update.
Oh, this is a very important constitutional issue, though. Federal prosecutors in Washington suffered a rare setback when this is hilarious because there's an old joke that says that a prosecutor can get a grand jury to indict a ham sandwich. Well, that's very pertinent here because a grand jury declined to indict Sean Dunn, a 37-year-old former DOJ paralegal, on felony assault charges for throwing a sandwich at a federal agent. The rejection was unusual because prosecutors are the only people who control evidence presented to the jurors. And basically, it's usually a rubber stamp. It's also the second time in recent days that a Washington grand jury refused to pursue felony charges against a person accused of assaulting federal officers, highlighting growing resistance to cases stemming from Trump's deployment of federal goons to patrol D.C. Dunn was accused of confronting a Customs and Border Protections goon near 14th and U, calling agents fascists, and then throwing a submarine sandwich at one of them. The case drew outsized attention with viral video clips and senior officials weighing in. Despite the spotlight, jurors refused to do anything here, leaving the prosecutors to consider reducing the charge to a misdemeanor, which would not require a grand jury indictment, or saving what's left of their fucking dignity and forgetting the whole thing. The episode underscores broader struggles for federal prosecutors who've recently had to walk back or dismiss several cases tied to the federal presence in D.C. A felony charge against Sidney Laurie Reed was downgraded to a misdemeanor after repeated grand jury rejections, at least 3. Another man, Torres Riley, had his gun possession charges dismissed outright. Federal judge blasted prosecutors for violating his constitutional rights. And in another case, a lady accused of spitting on a zoo police sergeant was jailed nearly a week without cause, prompting the judge to get really pissed off. Critics argue that these missteps...
Did you say zoo police?
Correct. That's right. Critics argue these missteps reflect federal overreach and poor case selection, as not to mention overcharging, as many charges could have been handled locally. Dunn is scheduled for a preliminary hearing next week, where the judge is going to determine whether probable cause exists. If the prosecutors can't nail him with an indictment within 30 days, they have to either drop the whole thing or downgrade it. I assume they'll downgrade it, but they probably should drop the whole thing. But this does set, Manila, a legal precedent that you can fire sandwiches at federal agents. Now, I don't know if you can attack local law enforcement with sandwiches at all.
Well, Ted, do we
even know other kinds of lunches?
Do we know exactly?
Would a croissant be a fair game?
Do we know exactly what kind of Subway sandwich it was? Because maybe that's part of the precedent. Is like it can't be a hot sub.
I think it was a meatball.
Oh, it was a hot meatball sub.
Sounds tasty to me, but that was the reporting that I heard. Yeah.
Ooh, because Well, Ted, that could be really messy with the whole marinara sauce, and
That's true.
the meatballs are hot.
Making
It
me
could have
so hungry
scalded
just
the
thinking
officer.
about this. Yeah.
I always thought it was like a regular, like a cold cut trio or something.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure
that's
exactly
really
what happened here.
not non-harmful, I think.
But like okay, so the serious thing first, obviously the grand juries really disliked the overcharging. And that's why these cases are
Pam
being
Bondi
thrown out.
said, "We're going to get you."
Yeah, and the grand jury's like, yeah, but not with our help. Fuck you. And so good for them. They did the right thing. I think we're going to see
food fight. Like,
we're going to see more of that.
This...
I mean, like I don't know. Technically, I don't think the guy should have thrown the sandwich because it's littering.
Sure.
And
I wouldn't waste my food that way. That's for sure.
It's a waste of food.
There are children starving in Gaza. I would not.
And in DC, there's homeless people who would have loved to have that sandwich. So,
no, they wouldn't. They're fucking picky as hell, Ted. Let me just tell you.
I know that's true. They'd rather have the cash.
They would ask you if that's gluten-free, if you've added salt or pepper. Well, I don't like vinegar. Forget you then. I'm not giving you this sandwich. Like, forget it. Give me my sandwich back.
But it's still pretty funny. So I think that, like, for the time being, I'm officially Ted Rall. I'm announcing open season on ICE and Customs and Border Enforcement officers. Go to Subway, go to Arby's, go to BK, get sandwiches, and load up, and just like I want to see. I'm advocating it, and like
I am not.
Yeah, and like, you know, I mean, obviously, not the best idea to drop the sandwich from like thousands of feet on your victim, but if you do, oh well. And if you fire it through from a cannon,
can you drone it?
That's probably okay, I think. Yeah.
Can you drone your sandwich onto?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, of course, obviously. Yeah, you should be able to drone.
That's encouraged.
That's in the Constitution.
Under a president, Ted Rall.
That's your legal right. In fact, if we're going to migrate to a point where if you don't do it, you could be arrested and deported to South Sudan or Uganda.
I do not advocate hurling food or anything at any people's at all. I am not, at least not good new food. Like, maybe if you're like in a food fight and you like everybody's doing it, because they do that tomato throwing thing, Ted. I forget what country, but they do, like, it's an orchestrated thing and where everyone's throwing food at each other. Outside of that,
Are you thinking of what's it called, Diwali or whatever, the Indian festival where they all throw dyes at each other?
No, that's dyes. No, I'm talking about, like, there's an actual festival where people do this every year. I don't remember where, but it's like it's specifically throwing food at each other. Or maybe it was just an event. I feel like maybe they brought it to the National Mall in DC once in the past 10, 12 years that I've been here. So I personally am not a fan of throwing foods at people, unless you're like, you are on the show Real Housewives where you're throwing cocktails in people's faces. I'm a fan of that.
That's a waste of good cocktails.
I'm a fan of that.
We have an ad here. I'm going to go ahead and get us through that. The countdown is over. The rivalries are real, and the road to the championship begins on August 23rd. Westwood One Sports brings you every electrifying moment of NCAA football, from the first snap to the final whistle. Top teams, big plays, unforgettable Saturdays. Don't miss a second of the action. Listen to NCAA football at rumble.com, the Westwood One Sports app on Westwood One sports.com, via Westwood One station streams, or by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports. If it's sports, it's on Westwood One. Okay. Shall we move on to the next?
Adrian says it's Spain. In Pamplona, they do a food fight, an official food fight. That's I knew it was like a foreign country that I'd been to, because I could have sworn I've witnessed it or something, like on my own. But I just getting to middle age and my brain is all jumbled. I'm like Joe Bidening right before our very eyes. All right, last story. To me, this is kind of sick. To me, as a Californian, and I'll tell you why on the backside of this. So Mark Zuckerberg. Oh, let me put this up on the screen before I forget. Let me put this here. right there. Okay, you guys see that. All right. So Mark Zuckerberg's latest attempt at neighborly diplomacy in Palo Alto. He's handing out noise-canceling headphones. I don't know the brand, Ted, if it's like Bose.
If it's the good ones or the shitty ones.
It's the good ones, yeah. But he's trying to hand out noise-canceling headphones, sparkling wine, and Krispy Kreme donuts to his neighbors. It's having precisely the opposite effect of smoothing things over. Residents aren't thankful, they're furious. So over the past decade, Zuckerberg and his wife, Priscilla Chan, no relation, have quietly converted at least 11 homes in the once tranquil Crescent Park area into a sprawling $110 million private compound. It features guest houses, underground amenities, gardens, a private school, okay, and they host frequent events there. Needless to say, the nonstop construction, blocking of driveways, all kinds of debris and dust, security checkpoints, security freaking checkpoints, and surveillance have shattered any semblance of peace for the neighborhood. One local said bluntly, "No neighborhood wants to be occupied." That's exactly what they've done, they being the Zuckerbergs. What was meant to be a peace offering, the headphones, to mask the noise, landed as tone deaf at best and insulting at worst. Quote, "These a-holes live in such a different world than us," one neighbor wrote. Another summed it up saying, "Sorry for being an insufferable douche nozzle. Here are some noise-canceling headphones." Neighbors accuse city officials of enabling the takeover by approving the permits, placing tow-away signs for Zuck's events. One ex-City Review board member recounted being brusquely dismissed by the project's security when attempting to do his job. What began in 2011, we're in 2025. This began back in 2011 with a modest 5,600 square foot house has now snowballed into a high security estate, complete with its own statue of Priscilla. We've talked about this. We've shown the images, the very creepy green image, scary statue of Priscilla for her, I think, 40th birthday.
At night, Mother, Priscilla comes to me. She scares me, Mother. Please make her stop.
It's Priscilla,
Please.
a symbol of permanence and power. So in short, the gesture was less a peace offering than a reminder of entitlement, prompting more frustration than forgiveness. So Ted, this is happening in California, and especially in with the ongoing, looming, constant year-round threat of fire danger. We just had the state's biggest, most destructive, most expensive fires.
If a wildfire were to wipe all of this off the face,
but it's not happening there. It's happening to people that can't afford homes.
If God smites Zuckerberg's properties while sparing all of his neighbors, I will start attending church regularly.
You would believe in God then?
I would. I would absolutely be convinced that God exists.
This is what totally pisses me off.
Yeah.
This is what totally pisses me off is like, if ever there was such a rubbing your nose in it show of have versus have nots in California, this is it. Like, it is Mark Zuckerberg in a state where we are already in a housing crisis, in a crunch. We've been there for years and years and years. The state won't fucking approve. Remember, I was a realtor and I have many friends that are still in this industry. The fucking state, Gavin Newsom as a governor, has been very slow to allow municipalities to approve their permits locally or whatever. Sometimes they take things up to the state and the state boards and all of this stuff. So all the way down to the municipal level, the whole entire state has been run like shit to approve property permits to be built because we don't have enough fucking housing.
Well, these are local.
Some asshole like Mark Zuckerberg. That's what I said. No, that's what I said. Yeah. That's what I said. Some asshole at the city level at Palo Alto is going to approve this for Mark Zuckerberg. I know for a fact that there are residents in Palo Alto, because I know realtors up and down the state that are in wealthy towns like Palo Alto, or in wealthy areas like near the Stanford campus, where people want to add ADUs or build like small rental properties on, because they have these older homes near the Stanford campus have a lot more dirt to them, so they can put up properties, put up like small rentals. The cities won't approve them. But then you have this asshole, Mark Zuckerberg, buying up a $14.5 million piece of land or home, 4.8 million, 14 million, another 9 here, another 12 there, 10 there. So Zuckerberg, if you're looking at the map right there, is literally trying to buy up the whole fucking subdivision. It is a gross show, a gross flex of inequality, and the in the state that's supposed to flex how we're so equitable and we care.
Let's get into,
Shut
okay,
up.
so that's
Like,
all true,
so
but let's
gross.
get into this.
So gross.
So Mark Zuckerberg, I've noticed a couple things going on here. And the reason he's getting into so much shit. So Mark, we know you listen to the show and we appreciate that. And we appreciate the $1 million donation, which you really should make right now. But like, if you look at this chart that Manila put up here from the New York Post, so he originally buys a $7 million house in a densely populated, crowded suburban neighborhood in the middle of a city, okay, in Silicon Valley. In Palo Alto is the biggest city in Silicon Valley. $7 million. Then he buys all the houses around there, 10.5, 14.5, 5 million, 14 million, 12 million, 12 million. And basically he either leaves the houses empty or he tears them down and leaves them empty. And he's basically building this empire in the middle of a crowded area that used to be upper middle class houses not that long ago. My ex-wife was from Palo Alto, and so I spent a lot of time there. And I spent time at her parents' house, her late parents' house.
Right back in the day,
I know the area really well. I really do. And like Silicon Valley was just starting at the time. So the thing is, Zuck's done the same exact thing in the Mission District of San Francisco, where he bought a house in the middle of a densely populated urban area. And then basically he wants to create a buffer zone around it for security reasons, and obviously just to not have neighbors and maybe not to bother neighbors, right? I get all that. Okay, but when you're basically a master of the universe and you're a multi-billionaire like that, that's not the way you should live or build. You shouldn't build, you shouldn't act, you shouldn't do that. It's easier and it's more frictionless and better for your security if you live outside of town. Get a place up in the hills, like, behind a big gate, behind a privet.
Bill Gates, doesn't he live like out of Seattle?
Bill Gates
somewhere?
Actually has a pied-à-terre 2 blocks away from my apartment here in New York, but he's very, very subtle about it. So, it's
like his Seattle home, where Microsoft
it's
is, isn't it like way
compound.
out?
Yeah, it's in the middle of nowhere.
Away.
That's the way to do it, right? Now, if you're gonna do this, I don't know why he does this. To me, this is like asking for trouble. It's asking for people to hate you. But if you're gonna do this, like, okay, literally, the people are like, okay, listen, we're not fucking peasants here. If you can afford to live in this neighborhood in your minimum $5 million to $10 million house, all of these people are privileged themselves, right? These are well-off people. They are not psyched about, they already have their own noise canceling headphones. They can afford fucking donuts. So, I mean, I hate to say it, so Zuckerberg, you're an asshole, but you could have handled this differently. You could have gone door to door, introducing yourself personally with Priscilla and been like, listen, here's the deal. And be like, look, I'll buy you out. I'll pay you 2 or 3 times what your house is worth. But if you don't want to leave, no problem. But I want to compensate you for your misery. Here's $1 million in cash, like right here, in $100 bills. Here's $1 million. No, and I'm sorry. I know it's a pain in the ass to live near me, especially when I'm doing all this. And I guarantee you, and that's nothing to him. So he could buy off 20 neighbors, $20 million. He's not all over he's not viewed as like a big cock. Not being viewed as a big cock is worth a lot of money when you have billions and billions of dollars. You should be happy about that. And so he should have just, you can't buy people, but you can rent them. That's what he should have done here.
But look, the last thing I want to say about Zuck and Priscilla, while we're on that topic, look, Chan to Chan, let me just tell you, girl, whoever is doing your guys' reputational management,
he needs to hire reputation.com.
Like, I'm out of work right now. Chan to Chan, let me help you, girl. Let me help you, Priscilla. Let me help you and your husband fix how you guys are dealing with the media and how you guys are dealing with your neighbors, because this is all wrong. Your comms team is shit. You're probably paying them tens of millions of dollars a month, and they have done shit for you. People continue to hate you more and more every year. So
Correct.
Ted and I will offer our services at a fraction of the price.
As consultants.
The TMI Reputational Consultancy is open for business.
I like it.
We are calling on the Zuckerbergs. We will teach you how to become a little more human.
That's the word.
A little more likable. A little more, everyday person that you might bump into at Target.
Mm-hmm.
And secretly, remember, Mark tries to walk around in his hoodies and baggy jeans, even though he's like 43. But he still tries to walk around looking like that, right? And he went through that whole recently, like, I'm a surfer and martial artist now, and I wear gold chains. Like, my hair is
ridiculous.
He tried to go through that phase. I don't know who tried to guide him through that. Again, their reputational comms person. Terrible job. I can help you with all of that. Ted can do all the print work. I can help you with all the physical. Whatever they're doing, Ted, is whoever they've got to fire.
What do you think of my advice, Manila? Like, buy off them, go introduce yourself, pay, like welcome wagon.
Yeah, these are other.
Talk to the neighbors yourself and offer them money for their inconvenience.
How about invite them?
Oh, invite them to the parties,
block party.
Yeah,
invite them to your parties.
Yeah, that's true too.
Incorporate them into your life. They are rich. If their homes are already tens of millions of dollars, they don't fucking need your headphones.
And if you're
but what they would like is access.
I had a friend who I heard her say to her then boyfriend, now husband, like, when you walk, that she complained that he would just walk into a party like, hi. And she was like, no, you insinuate yourself into the party, get the lay of the land, like, try to like blend in, don't disrupt. And I think that's what Mark needs to do here. He shows up with,
hey, here's some headphones.
Have some headphones, dudes.
Hey, dude, you want some Krispy
insulting. Kreme? To put this into perspective, if he had sent them a gift worth, even if he sent them all like a Tesla, that's a joke. Okay. It's like,
these are rich people.
These are super rich people, and you're causing them a world of inconvenience. Sorry, you got to pay. That's how it is.
Yeah. Rich people like money and access.
Oh, I like this. Stoop Dog on the Rumble feed says, I just looked up the street view on maps. His house is all pixelated. So in other words, I don't know if it's Apple Maps or Google Maps that he prevailed upon, but
yeah. Well, I know Google does offer the blurring.
Reasons. But it's like, dude, you're not living like a guy who cares about his personal security. You're really not.
Maybe the Streisand effect.
1444 Edgewood Drive, Palo Alto. Apparently,
it's not a secret. Like, people, like, this is. It's just really bad. And how gross is this, Ted? They have their own private school. I think they only have like 3 kids. So it's like.
Well, one of the buildings that they acquired for $14.5 million was a school. So they shut down the private school. I'm wondering if they're using those facilities for their kids.
Oh, they have 3 kids.
Well, Again,
like, is it a private school for your neighborhood at least? Like, that's how you gain.
Anymore. No, just not
Ted,
at all. They shut it down.
That's what I would offer. That's what I would offer to the Zuckerbergs. I would say, look, you assholes bought the one local, like that neighborhood's private school to make it part of your compound.
It should actually be like, oh, Zuckerberg lives here, so everything's awesome. Like in Queens back in the day.
Operate
in
the private
80s,
school and allow your neighbors to bring their kids there.
Italian neighborhoods of a certain type, if you know what I mean, that were in Eastern Queens that were extremely safe due to the people who lived there, if you get my drift. And so nobody minded living next to people who were frequently in the headlines, if you know what I mean, because it was a very, very clean, safe place where the trash was always picked up in a timely manner, and the lampposts were always when a bulb burned out,
potholes always filled,
exactly. Right. It was a high. In other words, it was to your advantage to live in that place and to have those neighbors.
Right.
And
now, Mark,
that's what you should do.
Zuck is not offering a communal advantage.
No.
That's why the neighbors are pissed. So, like I said,
if the neighbors are pissed at you, it's your fault as the new arrival.
He did it. He and Priscilla, what is she, homegirl? What are you doing? You bought the one private school in this little enclave. Why don't you guys operate it? I'm sure it's only, maybe a dozen homes in that area, and you bought half of them. Why don't you operate it as a private school and allow tuition free so your fucking weird kids can also have friends? Allow them to come to that private school. Right. That would really go a long way.
Or since you obviously are an antisocial fucker, in that case, what you should do is just like I said, go up on Skyline Boulevard, up in the hills, and get a place way up in the behind the redwood trees, and just hide up there behind your giant gate with your drones and your security cameras and your armed goons. Anyway, that's
think about this. It has been going on. The first bit of construction began in 2011.
I got a dip.
2011, Ted. It's 2025. It's been nonstop construction. I don't think at this point there's any smoothing them over. Anyway, so that does it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed our Thursday. Tomorrow, Friday, and then Monday, no show because it's Labor Day.
That's right.
And we observe bank holidays of this show.
That's right. The day that
Thanks
the Lord
for tuning
rests.
in. That's right. Bye. We'll see you guys here tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. Bye.